But first, Chris Bowen's used Climate Week in New York at the UN to promote Australia's new 70% 2035 emissions reduction target. He says it's ambitious but achievable. But never mind the details.
Australia has just presented our nationally determined contribution to the UNFCCC of a cut in emissions by 2035 of 62 to 70%. A target we regard as ambitious but also achievable. Hard work, not automatic, won't be easy, but achievable, which is the key thing.
You're just lucky it's 6 o'clock and I can't tell you what I really think about that bloke. Joining me now on the detail, though, we'll leave the personal insults to one side. Environment editor at The Australian, Graham Lloyd. I don't know where to start. I mean, every day I talk about Chris Bowen, I want to pull my hair out. Is there spruiking that somehow we have this clean energy revolution going on in Australia, that we're leading the world, you know, whatever it takes, whatever it costs, absolutely obsessed with the optics of climate politics over the day-to-day living standards of everyday Australians? We are so far ahead of the world here, Graham, that we are industrialising when about 1% of the problem, if there is a problem, is Australia's. I mean, how's that anything to be proud of?
That's right. Good evening, Peter. Well, this is the hard sell now from the federal government on the international stage to try and get their way with holding a conference and other things. And we're seeing the truth that Chris Bowen is there saying we are taking a maximum effort, we're leading the world, and at home the message is the reverse, that we're behind and we need to catch up and we should measure ourselves poorly against other places. I think it's becoming increasingly obvious that Australia is setting very high targets. It's now being loose with the detail on how they're going to be achieved or what they involved, and this is all going to catch up with them quite quickly.
You're right. You know, they're saying one thing overseas and they're trying to get another thing to fly here at home, but it's flim-flam. I mean, last Thursday, the Prime Minister had a whole lot to say about where we sit with other nations in the world, particularly the Europeans. Have a listen.
It's also consistent with the European Union have just announced that over the next 24 hours they'll be considering a target range between 63 and 70%. This is ambitious, but it's achievable.
Well, they might have considered it, but they've junked it. They're not giving firm targets like we stupidly are. They'll only announce an intent. And, of course, we can't measure ourselves against the European intent because in their mix, Graham, of course, they've got nuclear.
Yes, they do. That's right, Peter. And this backsliding really characterises what's happening with the whole process. Under the Paris Agreement, countries are obliged to update their targets, if you like, every 5 years. But very few have gotten anywhere near meeting what their expectations were last time around. So they're way more cautious this time. So we're seeing an aspiration on the part of the EU rather than a fixed target. And that's in recognition that they've got no idea how they're going to achieve it.
Of course they don't. And what did you make of the comments by Obama's former energy secretary? I mean, given he's a Democrat appointment, do you think Albanese and Bowen might listen to him on nuclear?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, when the Democrats in the US are telling you to cool your heels on climate change action, you know you're certainly out there. He's making a very good point. He's saying you need to consider all options and don't get too far ahead of the pack, that what we're seeing is a pushback from people in other parts of the world. We're seeing dislocation here around the siting of renewables and the extent of the rollout. And this is all building into something quite ugly.
Just quickly, I know Bowen would love us to host next year's UN Climate Talk Fest. Turkey's in the mix. They were pushed out because they were meant to host it during COVID. It didn't happen. They're refusing, though, to withdraw their nomination. Please tell me they're going to save us from spending millions and millions and that they'll get it.
Well, the clock's running down. I can't see either side particularly giving up, and that means it would go to Bonn. Of course, you have to look at the transactional nature of the whole thing. Turkey is, of course, the country that has argued before the UNFCCC that it can't be considered a developed country because it needs to be a recipient of climate aid. They are now at the final hurdle, and look, there's probably a deal to be done, and that will be costing Australian taxpayers if it is.